Welcome to All Pro Football Data. My name is Jim Coburn, and today's episode, Devontez Walker, wide receiver out of North Carolina. We're looking at him in terms of his production profile, how he profiles and compares to other wide receivers, and just a little tidbit here. Walker transferred to North Carolina from Kent State. That's why many people will say that I like this film better at Kent State because he was playing against lesser competition. But anyways, let's get back to his production profile. So this is the stuff that I use in terms of projecting wide receivers. I look at offensive market share data. What is that? Well, you take an individual statistic, you divide it by the team total. You take that statistic, compare it to positional peers. You score it, add against the age score of a prospect to give you offensive market share production. So if a wide receiver had 1,000 yards in an offense that had 4,000, then he had 25% market share. Take that number, you compare it to every single wide receiver in the past eons of wide receiver play, and that gives you that score. And based on his scores, he did okay. 80 percentile in terms of his receiving market share score, 70 percentile in terms of his total offensive market share production score, and 92 percentile in terms of his touchdown market share score. It's important to note that a lot of this production was at Kent State, more so than North Carolina, but it's still good production nevertheless for a wide receiver like him. Moving on to efficiency scores. Efficiency scores take a look at the efficiency of a prospect. Things like yards per reception. Touchdown percentage is that basically the total number of touches by total touchdowns to show you how often he ended up in the end zone when the ball got into his hands. These are important numbers to kind of show you how efficient he was as a wide receiver on the football field. And in terms of his efficiency scores, he was decent. His yards per reception score was basically 60 percentile, and then he was in the 80 plus percentile in terms of his TD percentile, which was kind of his best sort of attribute. So he was very good in terms of getting touchdowns when the ball was in his hands, but not so much in terms of like overall yards per reception, but still decent overall production. And when you look at players like the Pro Bowl averages, All Pro start averages, everything else like that, he hits within the range that you're looking for in terms of the position, in terms of those particular metrics. Now, moving to adjusted production score. So this is the age of a prospect, which is scored from youngest to oldest. You take into account things like their market share data, their strength of schedule data, strength of team data, which is called SRS, which stands for single ranking system. This is something that College Football Reference does to kind of give you an idea of how good of a team he was on. These scores are ranked to get MSA, which is market share, strength of schedule, strength of team, and age score. And the pass score adds all the market share scores, efficiency scores, age score, SRS, and SOS scores to give you the pass score, which is basically all the numbers together to give you context for their production. How productive were they for their age? How productive were they for their level of competition? How productive were they for the team that they're on? Those are questions that adjusted production scores answer. And in terms of Walker, he was okay. His age score was the 58 percentile, so he's a little older. His MSA score was in the 70 percentile, which is good but not great. And his pass score was a lot better in the 86 percentile, but overall, he kind of looks just okay. He's not really near the All-Pro averages or the Pro Bowl averages in terms of his overall adjusted production scores. He does hit in the starter area of his data, but those are the biggest kind of concerns for him. Is his production was good, but it wasn't exactly elite, especially considering his level of competition at Kent State. And again, his production was much better at Kent State than it was at North Carolina. Then, of course, in terms of comparisons, these are the wide receivers that tested similar to Devontez Walker in terms of his overall production profile. So, guys like Chuck Dickus, Larry Mucker, Lee DeRamus, Joey Galloway, I think is a name that a lot of people will know, DeAndre Carter, Sean LaChapelle, and Quan Bolden. These are the wide receivers that DeAndre Carter compared to based on his overall production profile. This doesn't mean that stylistically they're the same, but this is just kind of a group of wide receivers who tested similar to him based on his overall data. Going on to his outlook, Devontez Walker profiles as a potential Pro Bowl to starter wide receiver in the NFL. The biggest questions on his profile relate to his age. He's a little bit older. Walker has the skill set to become a top 10 wide receiver from this draft class with the ability to outperform his current ranking, which is a positive thing. So essentially, in this particular draft class, he should be considered a top 10 wide receiver. Not that he's going to end up becoming a top 10 wide receiver at the NFL. It's just in this particular draft class, he has a potential to be in that top 5 to probably top 10 range in terms of his overall outcomes at the NFL level. He could outperform it, but I would say he's still in that sort of range again as a top 10 wide receiver in this particular draft class. But overall, that is how Walker, projects. Uh, is he going to be an elite wide receiver at the NFL level? I don't believe so. There is potential for that to happen based on his production profile. How he tests as an athlete will also be important. But that's kind of how Walker kind of profiles as a prospect. So with all this stuff out of the way, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. My name is Jim Coburn. You can follow my Twitter page at Gemetrics, at Jimetrics. You can also go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/jcoburn, JCOBERN. On there, you can get videos early. You also get to have player requests. So if you have a player that you want to be said on this channel, become a patron. It really helps out the channel and really helps to get these videos coming out in a timely manner. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!